Okay.
Good morning and welcome to today's meeting of the Academic and Strategic Initiatives Committee. The meeting is being held virtually via Zoom and is being live streamed to the CPE YouTube page for the public. Audio and video are being recorded, and I ask that you keep your cameras on during the meeting unless you need to step away for a moment. So let's go ahead and get started. And Heather, will you please call roll?
Certainly. Mr. Colby Burks, Dr. Kelly Ellis. Oh, my apologies. My apologies if you could hear that. All right, Mr. Colby Burks, Dr. Kelly Ellis is not here. Miss Lori Harper.
Here.
Miss Karen Huber.
Here.
Chair Lucas Minzer. Mr. Richard Nelson.
Here.
Mr. Kevin Weaver.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum.
Great, thank you very much. So the minutes of our last ASI meeting were in your materials. Are there any objections to those as presented? Hearing none, they are approved as distributed. Now we're going to move on to look at our committee meeting dates. They are proposed dates for next year's ASI meetings, and they're in the onboard package. Heather sent those out for your review several weeks ago, and we did not receive any comments indicating that a quorum would not be present at them. So the dates are September 13th and November 10th of 2022. Moving into 2023 would be January 24th, March 21st, and June 6th. All of our meetings will begin at 10 a.m. So we actually need a motion to approve these meetings.
So moved.
Thank you, Richard.
Second.
And a second by Kevin. Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Thank you. Motion carries. Heather, will you please get those updated on the onboard and finalize the calendar invites, and be sure to get those on your calendar so you're able to attend. I appreciate when we have a quorum, it makes things a lot easier. Going to move on to the proposed new academic programs. We have 3 new academic programs up for approval today, and campus representatives are here to present those. So Melissa Bell, would you like to introduce each one?
Absolutely. So first up, we have a Master's of Education at Northern Kentucky University. And this type of program might seem familiar to you. If you recall, we approved one for Western in February of last year. And the reason that you're seeing these is because of a regulatory change. So in 2010, a regulation changed that required the principal certification programs to be conducted at the postmaster's level. And so at that time, some of the institutions that had master's programs closed those and created new ones at the postmaster's level. Well, that regulation changed again in 2020, and now programs for principal certification can be at the master's level. So institutions are reinstituting these programs. So we have Dr. Ginger Blackwell and Dr. James Allen from Northern here to provide you with some more details.
Thank you for considering this new proposed Master's of Education program in Educational Leadership at NKU. This new degree program will lead to Kentucky School Principal Certification. As NKU already has an approved EDS program that leads to the same certification, this proposed pathway will further enhance our existing program without adding any new courses or expenses, but to simply a master's degree or a rank 2. NKU has a long history. As Melissa mentioned, our master's program launched in the 1990s and was very successful until the regulation changed, and we sunsetted that program and launched a rank 1 EDS program that has been very successful the past 12 years. And so now we are proposing this new master's program in addition to our current EDS program, with both tracks leading to Kentucky Principal Certification. We have current approvals. We were approved by EPSB in 2018 as a part of our accreditation process. We were approved again in 2021 to demonstrate compliance with the regs that require programs to be aligned with the PSOL standards, which is Professional Standards for Educational Leaders. So program has been refreshed and updated and in full compliance. We see a great need and demand for this kind of program. A recent report from the National Association of Secondary School Principals recently released a report based on their national survey of school principals that revealed a looming departure of principals in the next few years. And one of the big takeaways is that as many as 4 out of 10 principals surveyed expect to leave the profession very soon. And they cite the pandemic and increased political tensions as the factors for accelerating their decision. Kentucky's really no different. We've reviewed data from Kentucky, particularly from Gray Associates, that demonstrates a high demand from students and employers in the 98th and 99th percentile. So we at NKU have very similar experiences from our partners that we work very closely with. And we think this new option will be very attractive as an additional pathway to open up perhaps for students and teachers who are maybe less seasoned in their teaching careers, but eager to enter the administrative role, and then maybe perhaps earn advanced certifications later on in their careers. And we have many of those certifications at NKU. So I think we're poised to do this work and excited about it. We, as an example of our partner districts, we've been working with Boone County Schools, the 3rd largest in Kentucky, to help them recruit from within Boone County. They tell us that when they open up principal, when they have a need for principals in their schools, the job pool, the pool is just not as great as it has been in the past. And many teachers who are certified are reluctant to take on those roles. And normally they recruit from the assistant principals. Many assistant principals, I think, are seeing what's going on and are worried about taking on that role. So we're hopeful that we recruit and open up opportunities for a wider audience within our teaching ranks, and are excited to offer the program. The program is 30-hour. It's a degree. It's a Master of Arts in Education, in Educational Leadership. It includes relevant coursework, field experiences. It's aligned with the PSOL standards, which I mentioned. It concludes with a school-wide capstone project, and all of the experiences lead to school principal level 1 in Kentucky. It's delivered online with in-person field work. One of the qualities of our program that we really appreciate, and our students tell us, our graduates tell us that they appreciate, is that all of the coursework is very relevant, and we require field work associated with most of the courses. So they're not just learning content; they're actually applying it in their school as they learn, and they're better for it, and they give us feedback as a part of that. So we're really excited about the opportunity. We thank you for considering our proposal. We can take questions. We weren't sure how much detail to go into, and so happy to take questions and answer any questions you might have.
Any questions?
James, this is Richard Nelson, and I appreciate you sharing with us. It sounds like there's a real need for this program. Quick question. I'm not sure if you can answer this, but you had mentioned that 2 of the big reasons for principals leaving was COVID and then the political tensions. That's correct. I'm curious if the program addresses that at all. I mean, so much of being a principal or administrator is public relations and dealing with difficult issues. And I empathize with administrators who are in these positions in the schools dealing with the unusually high tensions that we're in. But I'm curious if in the program there's anything that addresses, I don't know, how to deal with this stuff.
You know, one of the courses, and it's not a course that I teach, so I can't talk about specifics, but we have a course that deals with leveraging community systems and resources and current challenges that principals face. And certainly it is something that we have to address. We talk about that in classes. We talk about what's going on. We use relevant case studies in terms of how do you respond. And one of the great things about our program is in the field work in particular, we utilize current school principals. They facilitate the learning in the field work. And so they talk regularly with current practicing school leaders. How do you address this issue? How do you manage? How do you get through the challenges? And how do you deal with the stressful situations that are being encountered? And so we do that. And we hire the best in the region to help facilitate that work. And we find that it's helpful because, we have a pool of folks who are interested in becoming school leaders. We don't want to scare them off, but we want to present them with the realities of the job and give them some tools and strategies to deal with those challenges. I don't know, Ginger, if you want to add anything to that.
Well, you said exactly what I was going to say. I have actually taught both of those courses, the school law course, which we use a lot of relevant case studies. I actually partner with principals in the region and say, tell me a situation that you're dealing with. And then we put that in a hypothetical situation and have the candidates talk about how they would address that. And then they learn from each other. We do partner, as he said, with practicing sitting principals who are in the trenches. And so they're working very closely with the issues that they are dealing with. We know that, as you mentioned, Richard, I think this current situation with the pandemic and the political situation is really unprecedented. I'm a former principal. I was a high school principal for 9 years. And, some of the things that they're dealing with now are way different beyond the pale from what I did just a few years ago. But the community course, I've also taught that. And we do leverage our community resources and have them do projects where they seek out opportunities to partner and get input from community, and which I think is really at the heart of the issue that you're talking about is, how do you hear all the voices, but still move the school in the right direction. So partnering with STEAM principals and other community resources seems to be the best way to do that. So we do try to do that, although this is evolving, as you know.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, if not, that is the only academic program from Northern Kentucky University. So I would entertain a motion to approve the Masters in Educational Leadership from NKU.
Lori, I move that we approve this program.
Thank you. I have a motion.
Second it.
And a second. Thank you very much. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. Thank you. Motion carries. Ms. Bell, I'll turn it back to you.
So the University of Kentucky is proposing a Bachelor of Science in Leadership for Communication, Education, and Human Learning. So this program is a collaboration between the College of Education and the College of Agriculture, Food, and the Environment. So graduates of this program will be equipped to implement educational programs for youth and adults in community-based organizations, but it will also appeal to students who started in a teacher prep program but decided along the way that they don't want to work in a traditional P-12 setting. So we have Dr. Christina Haynes and Dr. Beth Rouse here from UK, and I will turn it over to them.
Thanks. We also appreciate the opportunity to be here and talk a little about our program. We're excited about it and look forward to your questions. So as Melissa mentioned, this is Leadership for Community Education and Human Learning. It would be out of the Department of Educational Leadership Studies in the College of Education with our partners in the College of Ag in Community Leadership Development. And Christina Haynes is here, so I will bounce back and forth with her a little bit, but we'll try to be time conscious for you all. This program is basically a non-certification program in the College of Education. It is designed to help folks who want to lead educational programs within the context of communities and out of the context of schools. No worries, Heather, sorry. I was looking at the chat at the same time. We started designing this program a number of years ago based on a need that we saw with a current certificate program that we have in undergraduate leadership. We had quite a bit of interest in folks who were interested in then using this as a full study of program instead of just a certificate. So we have targeted a number of students. The goal is to give students basically an understanding of how to design, lead, and facilitate educational organizations and work collaboratively with schools, families, and community agencies to support lifelong learning and implement innovative and effective educational programs. We did a bit of work in looking at the need for the program. We found that there is, according to Burning Glass, that there is an expected increase of or growth of 17.7% over the next 10 years of folks who are interested in civic and social organizations. And over a third of these require a bachelor's degree for those programs. We also did some surveying with current students in both the College of Agriculture as well as the College of Education. And of those students, 97% would be interested in a program like this, and another 75% thought their peers would be interested in a degree focused on leadership for community education and human learning. The program targets first-time majors as well as transfers from KCTCS. So students who are interested in majoring in the processes of leadership and community education. We also will target non-completers or students who have decided that working directly with students in K-12 or P-12 settings isn't of interest to them, but are interested in leading educational programs, again, in community context. So I think what I will do at this point is give just a brief overview of the courses, and then I can turn it over to Dr. Haynes, who has helped design and will be teaching some of those courses. So our major has 32 credits. Those credits are really focused on several components of leadership, of community programs, community education. We have 31 core UK core credits in our program. They also have the ability to take 12 credits of specialization electives, depending on what their areas of interest are within the community and educational context, and then 45 credit hours of additional electives, which could be applied to a minor. That's for 120 credits, which is typical, as you all know, for a bachelor's program. So Chris, can I turn it over to you to talk a little bit about the courses?
Absolutely. Thank you. As Beth has said, thank you for giving us time to present today. Again, the idea behind this is really to focus on this idea of community education as well as leadership within communities and provide, we found that is a big hole at the University of Kentucky, and there's not a lot of programs like this. There would be an intro class that would really kind of introduce students to what they can do with this major and what unique roles that they can serve in their communities. There's a heavy leadership piece to this, which I feel like the knowledge of the process really assists in not only engaging with communities, but really, being successful in future careers. So we've got, some basic leadership classes as well as applications. The prior program to us mentioned this idea of being able to actually apply what they're learning within the classroom and really having a hands-on aspect so that they can deal with, real world issues and things. We have a class that speaks directly to that. There's also a programming and community education class, as well as instructional approaches, which basically means that we're teaching them to teach outside of the classroom and whatever that looks like. And so, and as well as a foundational community education course. So we're really trying to give a very well-rounded perspective, not only of the leadership aspects of this program, but also education from kind of outside of the classroom, if you will. There's a human learning, development and learning to talk about the very basic premises of how humans learn and how they apply that. And then we have actually 3 aspects: a career explorations class, a senior seminar, and then a professional practicum. And in all of these aspects, students are in the career exploration. They're allowed to, it's a distance course where they actually go and kind of identify different careers they would want to do. And they shadow that, and they actually go through, the basics of a resume and pulling together, like a job application and things along those lines. And then in their final semester, they will do the senior seminar, which is more of a case-based study. And then you talk through kind of how to apply and how to work within those community situations. And then the practicum is actually where they would go out and do they'd have a faculty supervisor, and then they'd work with a community organization on a project they can put in their portfolio. So that again, it's a capstone. It's this very hands-on, apply what you've learned over the last few years before you actually get into the field. And so that's the core of what we have. And then obviously they have, like, as Dr. Ross talked about, they have another 4 classes that they can take to really hone in on if they're interested in nonprofits, if they're interested in more of the community aspect, if they're interested, perhaps in more of a business type model, et cetera. So the teaching would actually, again, there's several classes that I would be teaching as part of this. Dr. Ross would teach. We've talked through. We have the resources to do that. This would be in collaboration with the Community and Leadership Development Department in the College of Agriculture. And the individual who would probably have a joint appointment would be with expertise in particularly community education, as well as applications of that. And so a lot of the students we could see doing majors and minors within this aspect, as well as the leadership certificate students who kind of dabbled their toes in this could very easily turn this into, if they're interested in as a major or minor, because there's a lot of overlap. So we feel like there would be quite a bit of demand for the specific, the knowledge and the experiences that they would get as part of this undergrad program.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the rest of the committee? I actually have one odd question, and I'm kind of curious because I was looking at the job opportunities, and I kept thinking about, I wonder if they have a course that helps them figure out how to work with volunteers, because volunteers are different than direct reports and things like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, there are definitely, we don't have the specific volunteer course, although I do know there's a couple that you can take as an elective at the University of Kentucky. However, volunteers would definitely play a role in several of the courses as far as kind of application on how to do different things in the courses that you see. So yeah, volunteers make it up an important role in a lot of these, how you apply it basically.
All right, any other questions? If not, this is the only program from the University of Kentucky. And again, it's the Bachelor of Science in Leadership for Community Education and Human Learning. I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Karen.
Second.
And a second, Richard. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Thank you. Motion carries. Ms. Bell?
So last, we have a Master of Arts in Applied Philosophy at the University of Louisville. So this program that you have before you will replace a track in an existing program, the Master of Arts in Interdisciplinary Studies. So basically, all the courses are currently being taught. They're pulling it out and making it its own major. So the program's focused on healthcare ethics, and it builds on the university's strengths in looking at race, gender, and cultural diversity in healthcare, and also on Louisville's status as a regional healthcare hub. Today, we have Dr. Avery Kohlers here to talk and give you some more information.
Hi, thank you very much. So this is a 33-hour MA program. It, as you said, Melissa, it already exists. It's the plan in creating it some 15 years ago under the graduate school's interdisciplinary studies major was that it would be an incubation period, and it would move out and become its own program eventually. And it is doing that now. We have, over the years, we've had some ups and downs in terms of numbers of students, but the decline in the middle part of the last decade was due to loss of several faculty and staff support. We've built that back up a little bit, and our numbers are quite good. We've graduated now 52 people, and I believe our employment rate or continued education rate is 100%. We've just graduated somebody who went on to a fully funded PhD program in healthcare ethics at St. Louis University. The student demand comes from people who want to study healthcare ethics as part of their professional training, and they do that allied with a law degree or a social work degree. or a medical school degree. Also from mid-career professionals who have already finished their other degree but want to make medical ethics or ethics a particular strength. So for instance, we get residents from pediatrics who during their residency, they do an MA in healthcare ethics, for instance, or we have people who are staff at healthcare systems. And then we have students who finish their BA and want to go on in healthcare ethics or philosophy or something like that, and choose this program as the next stage in their education, sometimes to go on to get a PhD. And so what we'll do is we'll move this program into the philosophy department, which allows us to be a bit nimble in how we respond when there are new developments. But our current strength is healthcare ethics. It's particularly timely because not only the pandemic, but every hospital has to have an ethics committee. All research has to go through human subjects review. And so these are all bound up with healthcare ethics. And health disparities are a very serious issue. The public health departments are aware of this and trying to fight it. And we focus on health disparities in particular. So it's a timely program, and it is basically, we just want to be able to continue to do what we've been doing, but better, and have a bit more control over the curriculum.
Thank you. Any questions? If none, I would entertain a motion. This is the only program from the University of Louisville. And again, it is a Master's of Arts of Applied Philosophy. So
moved.
thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. That is all the programs that we're going to review today. And we are going to have a review by Melissa Bell, who is going to report out on the programs approved at KCTCS so far this calendar year.
Thank you. So we are required by statute to expedite the approval of KCTCS workforce-related programs. So the way we do that per the council's program approval policy is that CPE staff review and approve these associate level programs. In your agenda item before you, you'll see that we've approved 6 associate degrees at 3 KCTCS institutions this year, 4 at Maysville, 1 at South Central, and 1 at Hopkinsville. So at Maysville, there's been an AAS in Human Services, Aviation Maintenance Technology, Health Science Technology, and in Education. And at South Central Kentucky Community and Technical College, an AAS in Medical Laboratory Technician. And at Hopkinsville, an AAS in Computerized Manufacturing and Machining. So by our program approval policy, we report these out to you. And if you need any additional information or have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you. Any questions right now? If not, I will move on to Gear Up Kentucky, which is a post-secondary transition readiness online course. So Gear Up Kentucky is in its 3rd year of a 7-year grant that's serving over 3,000 students in 12 school districts. We will hear more about their work during the council work session next week, but today we're going to get an insider look at the new courses they've been developing. The Post-Secondary Transition Readiness online course was developed to equip Gear Up Kentucky high school students with the essential skills necessary to successfully transition to and through post-secondary education. At this time, I'll turn it over to Kim Welch, who is Gear Up's Executive Director, to tell us more.
Good morning. Thank you, Lori. I'm thrilled to be back here with you today. I think I was here with you all about 6 months ago, giving you kind of high-level overview of our services. So today I'm going to kind of dive deep down into one project that we've been working on that is really intended to be a future tool and resource for all Kentucky students that we're currently developing for our Gear Up Kentucky students. So first I want to tell you how we got here. I was probably about a year on the job when COVID hit. So that was a kind of, fun introduction to this role. But immediately we had to start thinking differently about how we were reaching our students and the services that we were providing. So as I shared with you in our previous time together, we have some core services that we deliver to our students. Just to give you some context, we just finished this school year serving 8th, 9th, and 12th grade students, as well as college freshmen. So we follow those 8th and 9th graders. So in the upcoming year, we'll be serving 9th and 10th. And again, a new class of seniors every year. And then following our college going 2021 grads, or 2022 grads to and through their first year of college. So when COVID hit, we were using a curricula from our National Gear Up organization that was really focused on classroom delivery, and in fact, actually engaged students in peer teaching. Well, we got to COVID and that really wasn't working. Right. So we decided we started to work with that partner to try to adapt that to a fully virtual environment. We didn't get very far. So we decided that we were going to develop our own curricula that was really flexible and could be delivered in multiple formats, which was now the need of our students in schools. And let me just back up a little bit. So two of our core services are really college readiness curricula that we deliver every grade level to every Gear Up student. We do that through a variety of delivery methods, whether we have a dedicated Gear Up class or we're visiting other classes on a regular basis. And then we also have individualized student advising. So the way that we think about that really is that the curricula is really focused on skill development, while advising is really focused on taking those skills and applying it to your personal plan, setting your goals and finding your path, right? So we know that if we do the latter and we get our students to post-secondary education, but they don't have the skills to make it through, then we've done them a disservice. So this curricula is really kind of core to what we offer our students. So as we kind of we started thinking about, okay, what we've got is not working. What do we want to develop? And so we really started around some guiding principles. First and foremost, that it be available in multiple formats. So we wanted to put it online so that students who may be fully online could consume that and complete it, whether with an instructor or without. But we also wanted it to be able to be delivered in a classroom as well. So as we are developing the online course, we're also developing a set of teacher tools like facilitator guides of what this looks like in the classroom. We wanted it to be assessment focused. So as you'll see, Laura will show you in a minute, each course has a pre and post assessment. So when we've identified learning objectives, so we're measuring whether or not those are being accomplished. We wanted it to be standards based. So we've aligned all grade levels to the Kentucky Academic Standards for Career Studies, Essential Skills, and Financial Literacy. And that is really strategic because we want this to be something of value to our districts. If we can offer them something that helps them meet the standards that they're already required to meet, then it becomes increasingly more valuable. So we've been working with the Kentucky Department of Education to integrate those standards. They had originally really just kind of put them out there as high school standards. We took them and mapped them out by grade, which was a first and a really valuable offering to them. So, and then we also are using a customized textbook. So we base this course off of the standards as well as the textbook called Thriving in High School and Beyond. So that textbook is linked throughout the site so that students can access that and read the actual textbook itself. And we also wanted it to be stakeholder informed. So we are and will continue to be sharing this while it's still in development with teachers. We did that with some of our teachers in our schools in March, with students, which we are doing next week at one of our summer camps. And we're going to continue to do that because we want a product that serves our students and is relevant to them, but is also a usable and valuable tool for our teachers. And then finally, we wanted it to be sustainability focused. I really think about Gear Up Kentucky as a test kitchen for CPE and for the state of Kentucky to test and refine strategies, products, and tools that help students, especially students that are traditionally underserved and underrepresented, that works for them. And so we really take that kind of test kitchen role very seriously. And this is a product that is really a great example of that. We are really kind of where we are in the middle of it is we've developed the ninth grade and started to deliver the ninth grade level this year. We are putting the finishing touches on 10th and 12th grade this year. And then next school year, we'll be finishing up the development with 11th grade. So we've as is everything in Gear Up Kentucky, we are focused on preparing our students holistically. And when we talk about that, we talk about what we call the FACES of Gear Up. That's an acronym that stands for, we want our students to be financially, academically, culturally, emotionally, and socially ready. So what I'm going to show you first, just a video that explains that concept to students. So this is a new video we've just produced, and this will be the first thing when a student registers on the site, will be a first thing that they see so that they understand why the course is organized in the way that it's organized. So I'm going to share my screen and hope to get audio. Here we go.
Gear Up Kentucky is committed to helping you gear up for success after high school. It's super important that you get more education after you graduate high school so that you will be able to get and keep a job you enjoy, earning the kind of money you deserve. This is called post-secondary education. For some people, post-secondary education looks like a short-term certification program. For others, it could be a 2-year or a 4-year college. No matter what you're planning to do, it's important that you're prepared to successfully transition to and through your post-secondary education program. And when we say prepared, we don't just mean things like good grades or test scores. Being prepared for success after high school includes being prepared financially, academically, culturally, emotionally, and socially. Do you see what is spelled out by the first letters of each of those words? That's right, FACES. At Gear Up Kentucky, all the lessons, advising, and activities we provide to you are based on what we call the FACES of post-secondary readiness. We want to make sure that by the time you graduate from high school, you are financially ready, meaning that you have the tools you need to manage money and you are able to cover your post-secondary education costs with things like grants and scholarships. Academically ready, meaning that you have a strong foundation in academic skills, you meet established college and career readiness standards, and you know how to do things that help you be successful in school and in life. Things like setting priorities and managing time. Culturally ready, meaning that you are aware of your cultural identity and worldviews, that you explore and can appreciate cultures and people different from you, and you can interact effectively with people of different cultures. Emotionally ready, meaning that you can manage your emotions, you are able to advocate for yourself, and you understand that you control your educational and future success through effort, perseverance, and resilience. Socially ready, meaning that you are able to effectively communicate to others, you develop and maintain healthy relationships, and you understand how post-secondary education and a college campus work and are able to find help and advocate for yourself when needed. Garrett, Kentucky's Faces of Post-Secondary Readiness are designed to help ensure you are better prepared to confidently face and successfully navigate your future.
Sorry, I was still playing on my end. I'm going to transition over to my colleague Laura. Let me just pause and see if there's any kind of question about the why and our approach to this before we give you a look at the site. Okay, so Laura Negron is my Associate Director of Operations and Development, is overseeing and leading the continuing development of this project and my highly valued right hand. So I'm going to turn it over to Laura.
Hi, good morning. So I am going to just kind of walk you through the site, talk a little bit about how it works actually in the classroom and in a virtual setting. And I will share my screen. Okay, so what you're looking at now is the home screen for the online platform. And of course, as Kim mentioned, the online platform currently includes course for 9th grade, which is in utilization, and then 10th and 12th grade are developed and in the final stages of editing. And then we will be adding 11th grade next year for a full high school curriculum for each of the phases of Gear Up that Kim mentioned already: the financial, academic, cultural, emotional, and social. So each of those are split into an individual course within the grade level. So while this platform has been designed to meet our objectives of the Gear Up Kentucky grant, it's also a legacy piece that will be available after the end of the grant. So anyone is able to register and access the content of the courses. However, if they register from one of our Gear Up school districts during the grant cycle, we can track their data and progress so that we will have the data to review and assess throughout the rest of our grant. So I'm going to demonstrate the site for you now. You can see that when you log in, it has typical course, how to register and information about the course. And then at the bottom of the screen, as I'm already logged in, you can see that we currently have the 9th, 10th, and 12th, although the 10th and 12th are still in production right now. So we're going to look at the 9th grade site. So you can see here that the 5 faces are each listed as an individual unit. Just to give you an idea of the scope of the platform, I want to talk a little bit about which topics are covered under each of these units. I will only demonstrate emotional and show you some of the financial and academic. But these, as Kim mentioned, these are aligned with the Kentucky State Academic Standards for Career Studies, Essential Skills, and Financial Literacy. So each unit contains 3 to 5 modules, which each have a series of lessons within them. They also each have a case study and an IRL, or in real life activity, that is a hands-on activity or thinking process that the student can do. For the 9th grade itself, the financial module includes what is money, inflation and purchasing power, making financial decisions, understanding opportunity cost, and the value of education and training. The academic module includes how to be present, prepared, and engaged, goals and priorities, good digital citizenship, and creating opportunities in your chosen career pathway. Cultural includes the human experience, the spectrum of human diversity, race, ethnicity, and culture. Emotional includes on-task behavior, which is the one that we're going to be looking at, task completion, and passion and enthusiasm for learning. And then social module includes listening and conversational skills, interpersonal conflict resolution, and digital interactions. So while the 10th, 11th, and 12th grade courses are built on that information presented in the 9th grade course, they're also designed to be freestanding courses, so they don't require the completion of the 9th grade course in order to be completed. But all four together create a comprehensive post-secondary transition readiness course. In addition, and we'll look at these as we go, but there are additional resources that support the course that are interspersed throughout. One is the textbook that Kim mentioned, that Gear Up for Success Thriving in High School and Beyond textbook. So there are links to that throughout the site that offers some customizable activities and self-reflection that can be utilized in person or a virtual setting together with the online course. There's also a facilitator guide that provides that teacher resource specifically designed for in-person delivery of the content. Okay, so as I mentioned, you can see on the screen kind of the 5 courses that are listed. I'm going to click on the emotional to show you what that looks like when the student clicks in there. So when they go in, they see this homepage. So the first thing that they will see, you can see a listing here at the bottom of all of the lessons and modules within that unit. And then when you click continue, it takes you to a pre-assessment. So the first thing that you would do in each course is take this pre-assessment. So they are not, while they do indicate which they got right and wrong, they are designed just to give a view of the student's knowledge prior to the course, of course.
So how long does a module take for them to do?
So it depends on which one. Some have the academic and financial have more content than the cultural, social, and emotional. They each have, so with the pre-assessment and then this particular one that you're looking at now that has, you can see it has an overview. Each one of these is a 10 to 20 minute duration. And then depending on how many of the optional activities that they do within each one, the module itself or this particular module could be done in 1 to 2 class periods. And it's designed that it could be flexible in the sense that they can do it partially depending on what their access to students are. So after they take the pre-assessment, there is a module overview for each one. And this is where you see those learning objectives that are aligned with the Kentucky State Academic Standards, as we mentioned already. After they complete each screen or lesson, they can select complete. And once they complete that, then it will show as a check mark on their checklist on the left. It is not required to select complete. They can click through, but once they do complete that, it will automatically bring them to the next lesson. You can see that some of the lessons are simply reading and informational. And then once they've completed kind of those the informational type lessons, then they get to the case study, which I will go ahead and click on. And so you can see the case study is a more interactive type of activity. In this case, it is a video on task and off task behavior and gives them instruction on how to identify kind of those off tasks behaviors. And once they've completed that, they will go to the IRL activity, which is an interactive activity that they will complete. And of course, these differ depending on the content. So then at the end of each of these modules, there's a summary that just, of course, summarizes and a short check your understanding quiz. That is a series of 3 questions that is really just on the content of that. But there is then a post-assessment after they've completed all of the modules for the FACE unit itself, and then they will have completed that particular unit. So I want to show you just an example of something in the financial. This is one of the lessons within the financial module. And you can see there are flashcards. There's a variety of kind of interactive type activities throughout. Resources and videos are also interspersed into the content. And an example of the academic, this one has the link to the textbook. And when you click on that link, you can have the actual text of the textbook, which has the activities and interaction there. So that's kind of a brief summary of that. Kim, anything that you want to add or that you would like for me to demonstrate as well?
So I just want to add a little bit more, kind of re-emphasize that this is a legacy piece, right? So the reason that this looks less like a learning management system, that's intentional. Because what we didn't want to do was build a course in a yet another learning management system that our students in schools would have to learn. We found that our schools were using, all kinds of different things. So we wanted to build it so that the content could live independently or be pulled into, for example, Google Classroom. So that flexibility is intentional. But it really is our desire to have, come 2024, 2025, in the final year of our project, a product that we can offer to the state of Kentucky to use, whether you have Gear Up in your school or not, which is really the primary reason I'm here sharing this with you today, is to make you aware that that's really something that we want to offer the state. And that's really the big vision and goal of this project, as well as to serve our students currently and to refine it based on their feedback. So we would welcome any questions.
Thank you so much. Any questions? I kind of interrupted the one question I had.
No,
So
that's
any
fine.
other questions? Okay, if not, thank you so much for sharing and going through the tutorial of the, I guess they're online learning activities. So thank you both so much.
Thanks for having us.
All right, I'm going to move on to other business. Do we have any other business to come before the committee today? All right, well, if none, our next meeting is scheduled for September 13th at 10 a.m. And do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. Okay, thank you. So we got done right under an hour. So I appreciate your time today. For those of you that are enjoying the Florida sunshine, we've got clouds and a little rain today in West Kentucky. So
Thank you, Lori. We'll see you all.
thank you all. Bye now.